I'm beginning this video from the inside of the foyer or lobby area of building 4710 Cherokee Street at the Ferris Manor Apartments. The reason I'm making this video is to bring some attention to a very, very serious problem that we're experiencing, the residents are experiencing here in this building, and the reasons behind it, and the fact that something really needs to be done about it. Oh, there goes one right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Actually, as I get closer here, just take a look at this. There goes one right there. Oh, there's one right there. He's just standing right there. Look at that. And if you look at this hill, it is absolutely infested with rats. They are everywhere. Actually, this time it's not nearly as bad as they came out last time. Oh, there you go. They're all hanging out down here. Oh, they're bold now too. They used to scurry at. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is fucking disgusting. Sorry for my language, but and they were getting very bold too. It used to be that if you walked out here and you made any noise whatsoever, you know, there would be a couple rats in the dumpster and you'd hear them, you know, scurrying, trying to get out of the way. Now I can come out here, I can talk to other people, I can make as much noise as I want, and they will sometimes, you know, they will sometimes go, you know, into their holes or whatever, but for the most part, they just continue running around, doing their thing. They're not afraid of us. The last time I walked out here, I saw a whole, like a ton, like maybe 3 dozen rats all scurrying from this corner of the building back toward their holes. I mean, this is not acceptable. Now, let me address this next. You might have noticed here at Ferris Manor that there's a problem with people dumping their trash bags outside of the dumpster. Well, usually that started off because the dumpster would be full. Look at this. Let me zoom in here. Look at this. Would you want to walk back there with your trash? Would you want to come out here at night? They're all over the hill right now. Wait a minute. I mean, look at all the motion you can see. I don't have the, you know, the best zoom and all that, but I mean, just in the time I've been filming already, you've probably seen like, you know, 50, 60 rats. So the problem is not that people are dumping their bags of trash outside of the dumpster and that is what attracted rats, but let's talk about why that happened. They are all over. Okay, now, oh, wow. Look at this. Look at this. This is fucking unacceptable. You know, if I need to go to the city to get something done about this, then that's what I'm going to have to do. You know, I can't look at the list. There's dozens of them right there. That is fucking disgusting. How can you guys think this is acceptable? And, you know, you guys meaning the management office, the property manager's office. Anyway, let's go back and talk about why this has happened. And by the way, a lot of this, the information I'm going to share with you this is information that was actually given to me by, I don't know if he's the manager. I know the assistant manager is Sherry, but I think this was the manager. I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but he's the one that told me what I'm about to tell you, which is that before COVID started taking root in early 2020, up until that point, mind you, I've lived here. Look, they are all over this hill. As they keep talking, I'm seeing them out of the corner of my eye. Because once they go away, they only go away for like a minute when they hear noises. Can you see all those? Do you want to carry your trash out here at nighttime? The openings on the dumpster are on the side of the dumpster, which means you need to walk into that enclosure to make sure that your trash gets inside that dumpster. You can't really throw it from the front and expect it to go on the side. And if you do, then you have to get close enough that you're pretty much inside the enclosure. Yeah, I'm not going in there without, you know, without tucking my pants into my socks at the very least so they don't run up my pant legs, okay? This is why people just throw their trash at the dumpster, because they don't want to get anywhere near it. Back to why this is happening in the first place. This is what I was told, again, by someone in your office, not anything I'm making up or anything that I'm just supposing happened. Before COVID, I was told that this apartment complex usually didn't have much more than about a... I'm not worried that they're going to come up to me and try to eat me. This apartment complex didn't usually have more than about a 50 or 60% occupancy rate. So there were a lot of vacant apartments apparently in these buildings. Once COVID happened, and because of COVID, businesses shut down, people lost their jobs, and so a lot of people started looking for more affordable places to live. And this is the one great thing I can really say about Ferris Manor is, the rent here is more affordable than it is in a lot of other places. Look at this. They are all over. They are all over the place. It's just dozens upon dozens. Anyway, so people moved here in droves once COVID happened. After COVID hit and it started affecting people and they started losing their jobs, looking for cheaper places to live, moving in here, probably I'm sure word of mouth helped a lot. Then it became hard to, get a vacant apartment here. I was told that it, went to over 90% occupancy. Well, we used to have one dumpster back there, and then sitting behind it was a cardboard dumpster, which I suppose that's what this is still supposed to be, because the one at the back has a slot cut onto the front of it. You see that there? Has that slot cut on the front of it. I've never even looked to see if it's marked for cardboard. If that is a dumpster that's specifically for recycling cardboard, then this is insane, because the whole reason that the dumpster was getting overwhelmed and just filled up, and people started throwing their trash to the side because it was filled up, is because we went from having so many vacant apartments to so many more people living here, all moving in within probably within a year or something like that, or a couple of years. And do you think that if the dumpster wasn't getting full, but it was getting close to full when it was occupied at 60%, that when all those people moved in here, you don't think that that was enough people to generate that much more trash? People moving into the 2 and 3 bedrooms, with kids or having roommates, So I was told on more than one occasion when I complained about this, I was told that the reason that the dumpsters were becoming full, prematurely, before the next pickup could happen, and thus, with the full dumpsters, people were having to throw their trash outside. I was told that that was because people who, work for, construction sites or, whatever, were coming here and illegally dumping their garbage here. I've lived here for 13 years, okay? And not only have I lived here for 13 years, but since COVID hit, since March of 2020, so that's 6 years ago now, I also have worked at home. I'm here all the time. And this is my front door. So I'm in and out of here all the time. I see what happens with it. Is not people coming here and dumping illegally. Has that ever happened? Yes, of course it has. It's happened. It's been isolated incidents. I think that it was happening more when this new building next to us was going up. Maybe they were bringing some stuff over here. I think that when the hotel that used to, the shady motel that used to be there before this building was built, when that was here, I remember occasionally seeing the type of furniture that they use in hotel rooms, like trashed and outside of our dumpsters and stuff. But this is something that happened. It has happened a few times. I cannot imagine that anybody who might, I don't know if this bedroom, I don't know if this basement apartment here is occupied, but that's where the rats are running from, is that area. And I would not be surprised at all if they were getting into, trying to dig their way into, a warmer place and get in there. I feel really sorry for anybody who lives down there, that they might be starting to have to deal with that. What should have happened is when the old dumpster was gone, we should have gotten a new, larger dumpster here. And then there should have been another one placed at the other end of the apartment complex. Because why does all of the trash have to be in front of my building? Furthermore, my neighbor and I have been noticing that people, and I'm talking about people who live either in the building next to us down here or the ones, out here, they walk their dogs up on this hill. They walk their dogs on our lawn. Their dogs poop all over the place. None of these people pick up their dog poop. Even with the supplied bags, they're too lazy and too stupid to pick up their own dog poop. And guess what dog poop attracts? Rats. But what are you guys doing about it? Well, nobody seems to be able to spend the money to get a dumpster or to come up with any solution other than no solution at all. So what do we have instead? We have money spent on either buying or having a sign made out front on a telephone pole out in front of the front building that says, you dumping your stuff in our dumpster here, is illegal. And you're on video surveillance, so don't do it. Really? That's funny. I don't see any cameras on this building. So it would basically, to be able to catch anything, it would have to be on my building or maybe that one over there. And there is no camera. So instead of a real solution, what we got was one sign on a telephone pole out front warning people not to do something that people aren't doing, under penalty that they will be caught on film, on surveillance, from a camera that doesn't exist and no film exists. And it's, somebody spent money and time on a sign that's a lie instead of addressing the problem. This is in front of building 4706, or I'm sorry, 4708, whichever. No dumping, area under video surveillance. You will face a fine, etc. Okay, cool. Where's the camera? Because there is not one single camera trained over by that dumpster on any of the buildings. And I've looked for one. There aren't any. This enclosure, as I understood, when I first saw this enclosure, when I walked out here one day and saw this enclosure being built, the first thing I thought to myself was, well, that's good. I guess they're trying to do something about how unsightly it is that all these bags, of trash are, at least, people will put them inside now. Well, half the enclosure is already gone. The one door is hanging open permanently. The other one is missing. And furthermore, they are setting, every time the dumpster gets picked up now, they don't set it back into the enclosure. And so you couldn't shut the door if you wanted to because it's sticking halfway out the enclosure. Well, guess what? As it is now, people will not approach this dumpster even in the daytime because these rats are bold enough now that you see them during the daytime too. It's no wonder that people just throw their trash at the dumpster because they don't want to come anywhere near this. Neither would you if you lived here, neither would your kids, etc. And so that is a problem. Where is the poison? Where is the poison? Where are the traps? There's like one or two of these things laying around. Yeah, that's not cutting it. There are like literally hundreds and hundreds of rats, okay? And they're gonna start getting into the buildings. So the crew that comes here in the mornings to clean, down here, this black area that's always underneath this rug. Let's see what happens if I do this. Oh, look at that. But you can see all the dirt. And then, nice clean spot in the middle where I just scrubbed that. I can do that with a magic eraser in, a few seconds, but they can't ever get it clean. But anyway, back to the point. The point is, I've noticed that the people who come here to mop the hallway and do a terrible job are now out there picking up people's disgusting trash, throwing away food and diapers and God knows what else. They're out there cleaning the parking lot because apparently the management here is having them do that. God, I hope you're paying them extra because it's probably not in their job description. But here's the point that I want to make. I was taking out some bags of trash early yesterday morning, and I walked out here, it was raining like cats and dogs. I walk out here and there is a woman out here who was picking up garbage from the ground and trying to throw it in the dumpsters. And she saw like a few, pieces of trash up on this hill. And she walked up on the hill. Mind you, again, it's raining really hard, so the ground is soaked, the ground is soft. She walked right up onto, right up on near the top of this hill. And when she walked up there, all of a sudden, probably 20, 30 rats popped out of these holes all around her feet, and this poor woman screamed and was jumping up and down and running for her life to get off of that hill. It's really, so that's part of their job description now, is trying not to be attacked by, swarmed by rats, because Fort Strong Properties won't do anything about this fucking problem that you guys caused. You guys caused this because there was an insufficient, I'm sorry, this is really upsetting that I've got to live in front of this and see this. And I have friends come over and they see this. Oh, wow, you really live in a ghetto, don't you? I mean, this is slumlord stuff right here. Okay? So and listen, I know that other people besides, I myself have complained about the trash situation many times. I think I complained about it probably before COVID because the dumpster, would get full, but it never got so full that people couldn't at least try to, throw trash on top of the dumpster. They still weren't throwing it on the ground. It didn't get thrown on the ground until the trash, until it would get so packed full, bags on top of it and everything, that people started running out of any place to be able to put it besides the ground. Well, then that's what brought the rats out. So once the rats were out, I was making complaints. I'm sure other people were making complaints. And so what was clearly needed is a second dumpster, not one for cardboard. You guys don't even offer recycling bins for things like cans and bottles that everybody throws away tons of. All the people that are, big soda addicts or drink a lot of beer or, whatever it is, that's the kind of recycling that, we could actually use here. Who throws away a cardboard? I mean, people throw away cardboard boxes, but sorry, what they don't even put in that dumpster, because again, who wants to fold up all their boxes, bring them up here, and then stand there and insert them into a slot one by one while rats are running over your feet? I mean, it's insulting that, that's even there. So again, I don't know if that was put there for regular trash, but I guarantee you that's what's going in it, because we don't have a choice. And however, now, even if you have two larger dumpsters, and even if both of them, can or are supposed to be used for regular trash, well, people are not going to get their trash into that dumpster because they don't want to get close enough, and I don't blame anybody who doesn't. I mean, why the fuck do I want to risk, getting bit by some disease-born rodent just to take, trash out, because you guys can't get, a larger dumpster here, put one on the other end, so we don't have to have the entire complex's trash all right in front of our door, But, apparently Fort Strong is not interested in spending any money, but just lying about having cameras and warning people to not bring their illegal dumping here when nobody's even doing it. It's not an issue here. It was terrible to see this woman, who's here to clean a hallway. She walked up on that hill to get trash off that hill. Oh, because that's the other thing. The rats tear open the bags. The rats tear open all the bags, and the trash gets strewn all over the place. So she's up there trying to, keep her job, and she gets, she walks on the soft part, because that ground is absolutely riddled with holes underneath, tunnels, and so I'm sure the rats, could hear and feel, their roof flexing with her walking on it. And that's why they all came running out of their holes all around her, like literally in a circle around her. And she was terrified. Okay. Do you think that's okay? So like I mentioned in the email in which I included the attachment for this video, this video is uploaded as a private video, not a private video, it's an unlisted video on YouTube, which means that, you're not going to necessarily find it unless you have the specific link that leads right to the video. However, to make the video public, all I have to do is, you know, hit a button, and you know, and if I have to make it public, I will, because this is unacceptable. Something needs to be done about this, like now, like years ago, but a couple of years ago, but now would be fine too.